Here's what I think you should do. I think you need to get an accent.
Yes.
And then on top of an accent, assume a whole new identity and backstory around said accent. Be a whole different person.
Yeah. Why
and
not?
And that whole different person doesn't stutter. But then switch it up, you know? Make friends as a separate person and then one day really weird them out and show up as your regular self with the stutter. How fun's that?
That's so fun.
Really
like,
creep out your new friends. Yeah. Who are you? Why all of a sudden, what is this?
It's so mysterious. And then you get to be mysterious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Years in the planning. You know, you've got to make relationships. You got to meet people's family members.
Yeah.
Set the foundation and then crumble.
They said that we'd grow out of it. Well, the joke's on them, that's just our brains. We're eccentric, loud, and stubborn. And most of our clothing is covered in stains. It's not a deficit of attention. There's just too much to think about. So if executive dysfunction becomes a little too much, if you forgot why you came in this room, or you're hypersensitive to touch, then put on your seamless socks and come join our little flock. Bitches stimming together, we're weirds of a feather, weirds of a feather.
Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8. Outside bones, outside bones. Never forget your teeth are outside bones.
Bye-bye.
They fall from your head when you're a kid. All right, so let's do room sounds.
Room sounds. Excellent.
Okay. Should we just get into this?
Welcome to Weirds of a Feather,
Yeah.
an ADHD-adjacent podcast. AuDHD-Adjacent podcast. I'm your host, Kristen Stanhope.
And I'm your host, Grace Bray.
And we're back.
And we're back.
We're back.
With part 2 stuttering. Look at me, not only doing my stuttering episode, immediately doing a part 2.
Look at you.
Because how many part 1s have I done? And I'm like, I'll come back to this. Just
or
didn't.
Episodes that are so long that we have to split them up kind of awkwardly.
This one, I split them up on purpose.
Look
so
at that.
You'll get a proper
Proud
beginning
of you.
and
Very
a proper
proud.
ending, right?
Very proud of you.
I'm not going to have to come back down and record a, hey guys, so this episode went on for too long, so here I am by myself just saying.
I do love that.
Do you? I always feel so awkward doing it.
I think that's why I love it, because I know you feel awkward doing it.
Yeah.
And it's very endearing, you know?
Thanks. That's
Hi,
me.
guys. Our episode went a little bit too long.
Once again, I know we never have to do this.
You know, kind of a blunt cut that we did, but it was kind of necessary.
Kind of just suddenly stop the episode.
Yeah, but we'll be back next week.
Yeah, and we'll suddenly start the episode.
Yeah.
Yep, midway through a conversation.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do that this time.
No,
we planned it.
I planned ahead.
I'm really proud of you.
And was part 1 already super long? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But we also kind of just took a pause and just left for a bit. So that's like 20 minutes there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kristen was too sleepy and was falling asleep.
I get sleepy when I get cold.
Body shutting down.
My body shuts down.
She's meant to be a lizard on a rock.
I need a terrarium.
Yes.
I need the
we need
temperature.
like a heating lamp in here for you.
I have a lot of chicken lamps.
I have a heating lamp, yeah, for my snake.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just put it
for
like
my
right
snake.
here. How's
Yeah.
the lighting going to be about that, you know?
I have one that doesn't give off any light. It's just the heat. We should do that. We should hang a snake
There's
heating
a bulb
lamp.
right there.
Perfect. I'll just replace that.
Replace
I
it.
have one that we could screw in right there.
That's
Genius.
called Kristen's little heat lamp.
Yes. Let's legitimately do that.
Anti-sleep lamp.
Yes.
Yeah.
Keep her awake. Got to put her under a heat lamp.
It's just, I shut down.
But
I
you
don't
also
know.
get sleepy when you're warm, right?
I get sleepy when I'm warm, but even more like if I'm too cold, my body shuts down, my brain shuts down. I can't think. I get really irritated at work if I'm too cold.
Dysregulated.
Yeah,
I do too. I feel like, how dare you speak to me when I'm very clearly cold?
Yeah.
How could you expect my brain to work right now? I'm too cold.
Yes.
Stop telling me
remember
things.
Remember how cold that apartment you lived in and then I lived in
In Boston?
in Brookline? Yeah.
Yes.
And it was so
very
cold there
cold.
all the time. I remember eating cereal with gloves on.
That's
and
dramatic.
I remember having one of my classmates over to study, and I was just like, I think you need to go home because I can't be.
I'm sure you were shutting down.
I was literally shutting down.
I've seen you fall asleep at the library.
Yeah, that's
know
the
what you're
best
like.
place to sleep. But if I'm too cold, my body is gonna say we're done.
Yep. Gotta conserve energy.
Yeah, you
We
can't.
don't need to keep the eyes open. That's
The
unnecessary.
eyes are not going to stay open.
Yeah.
The brain is not going to function. You're not going to have good thoughts. You're
Nope.
going to just have no thoughts.
Yeah.
And despite you doing all the things, it's not going to work.
Yeah. But you know what? We're cozy now. You got
We're
my
cozy.
heating pad on. You got
I-
a hot tea.
I have a hot tea. I have a heating pad. I've got an electric blanket,
Yep.
and I got a Nido.
You need some recording mittens.
I need.
Maybe a hat.
I know. You know what? I even thought about a hat, but I wore this dumb bun.
It looks nice.
Trying out
You look
the
very professional.
slick back because I haven't washed my hair in a while. Trying it out.
Looks nice. Sleek.
You know what it is? Oil from my own head.
Ooh.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Nice little energy
Fun
saving
fact,
tip right
if
there.
you don't wash your hair, you don't need gel for
You
slick back.
make your own oil,
Yeah.
man. Be self-sufficient.
Yeah, I am self-sufficient.
Use every part of the body.
Right?
Yeah, good for you.
So, and my hair is too long to deal with, and I really need to just.
Chop it off.
I know.
Boom.
I
Get a
know. I
Get a
want to.
bob.
Well, it's easy to put my hair in a bun too, though. So I don't want to chop too much off. I need bunnage, or I just have to shave it. There's
One
no
of these days I'm going to shave my head, and I'm not joking. Everyone tells me not to, except Lily. She eggs me on. Like, oh, you're being mean.
I mean,
You're being mean. Don't tell me to do it.
I think you'd be fine. You get a great head.
I have a weird flat spot back here, and I think that would, although back of my head is none of my
Such is
business.
life.
Yeah.
Life is full of flat
Don't
spots.
we all have lumps and
Yeah.
spots? You know? Just
I think
people.
my mom used to tell me, because I used to threaten it a lot, and she's like, no, you have a weird birthmark on your head. I don't think I actually do.
She's just saying that.
I think she's just saying that,
Yeah,
which
to scare you.
smart.
Smart.
Her worst fear was that I was going to cut my own hair, because I was apparently a spontaneous child.
Were you?
I was tame.
Impulsive? Yes.
Impulsive, sure.
Yeah. I don't know
But
about
also
spontaneous.
incredibly anxious.
Yeah.
You know,
You weren't making any rash
spontaneous
decisions.
for her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As someone who just wants to watch General Hospital every day at 2:30.
So, yeah. Yeah. Which I don't blame her. Loves a routine.
That's the routine.
Gal loves a routine.
Yeah.
Your mom is so AuDHD. Yes.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
know that whole side of the family is so dysregulated.
Yeah. There's a lot going on there.
The other side is just pure autism.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't
Straight
wait
to
for you
business.
to one day meet my Aunt Joanne.
I can't believe I've never met.
Oh my God.
That's another weird thing about your family. We've lived in the same neighborhood as each other since we were small children. I've like never met most of your extended family except Miss Queen.
That's right.
Old gym teacher.
Probably for the best. You've met my cousins, a couple of them, right?
Yeah, I have met your
At
cousins.
the bars
Yes.
when before they get into fights.
Yes.
They've mellowed
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I've
Proud
met
of
your
you
cousins.
guys.
Yep.
Now they're like in relationships and stuff. It's great.
Mm.
Well, at least one is.
All right, let's get into our little accomplishments so we can slam on into this part 2 of stuttering.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Little accomplishments, but big in our hearts.
Yeah. Grace.
Yes.
What did you accomplish?
I'm getting back into pickleball.
Pickleball?
I'm pickling, guys.
Pickle that ball.
I went down to Arizona to visit my parents who live in a 55 plus community in the winter
that's
there.
pickleball heaven right
Oh
there.
man, they are big,
Gentle on the
big
knees.
picklers there. Yes, gentle on the knees.
Good on the joints.
My friend Abby from Oregon met me down there and we had a gals reunion, which was
Aw.
awesome. Yeah, I haven't seen her in years and years and it was really fun. But my mom is really big into pickleball. She's in like a ladies group on Tuesday mornings, invite only, but they allowed me to
Ooh.
come.
Invite only.
Yes,
I feel, is it cliquey down there?
very.
I feel like old people do that a lot.
They've got nothing else going on. Abby
Right.
was very interested in the social dynamics
Yes.
of the whole place.
We
would-
need to get Abby on here and talk about it.
She would love it. We would come back from the pool because, you know, my parents like don't go to the pool that much because it's just, they have so many other activities. Like they're not on vacation. They live there. guess their whole lives are a vacation, but they're there, you know, they got their daily schedules. Whereas Abby and I wanted to go to the pool like every single day. We would sit down to dinner with my parents. She'd be like, okay, here are my questions from today. Like, what's like the LGBT situation here? Are there any gay couples? Like, what's the race situation here? Because it's almost exclusively white people. And it's like,
why am I not surprised?
Yeah, of course. Very, very white, very straight. Like my mom is not involved in like the more social, because she never has been involved in the more cliquey, like women's social dynamics type of thing. So we were like trying to ask her about that, but she's like, I wouldn't know about that. But there are
Susan,
I know,
come
it's like, get in on the gossip.
Get in.
We want the gossip.
We want who's doing what.
And I'm sure there's like swinging happening down there.
Oh, for sure.
So I bet there's a lot of drama. One of her friends, Jeanette, is a realtor down there. And so Jeanette knows everyone. And so I feel like Jeanette
is the one we need on the podcast.
Yes. Jeanette, reach out to us. We want to talk.
We gotta go to Jeanette. We gotta back down to Arizona. We go.
Yep. Here we go.
Bring our recording equipment.
Yes. Lots of stuff going on. Yeah. So my mom's just like not a good source of gossip, but there's definitely a lot of social stuff going on. But anyways, this pickleball group was just a bunch of nice ladies, and everyone said that I was a natural. And I've got those young knees. They kept yelling at me for running backwards because that's how you fall and crack your head. I was like, guys, I've got the knees to run backwards, so let me do it.
You're not allowed to run backwards.
You're allowed to. You're not supposed to, because it's an easy way to trip, which I have fallen one time outside when I was running backwards. I just can't stop doing it. I'm just so used to doing the backwards shuffle.
Yeah, because that's what you do in tennis.
I've never seen someone run back so much in pickleball. So I guess
what, are you supposed to turn your back on the net?
Yes, you're supposed to turn and run. Like in softball, you're not supposed to run backwards. You're supposed to turn
at all times.
That's what I'm saying. I'm watching the ball.
Yeah, that's every single sport that is ball related. That's like the thing. Eye on the ball.
I know,
baseball,
but you are supposed to turn sideways. I know,
soccer.
but you're not supposed to shuffle backwards. And she's right.
Were you gonna grapevine away?
Maybe you're supposed to turn and run while looking up or looking forward. There's too much. There's a lot going on in pickleball. There's a lot of rules.
Yeah.
Kept stepping in the kitchen.
I thought that's what you were supposed to do.
No, you can only step in the kitchen once the ball has bounced once, but you cannot hit a ball out of the air that hasn't bounced on your side yet. You cannot be in the kitchen and hit a ball out of the air unless it's already bounced once. Then you can step into the kitchen. There's just like all these little rules that are hard to keep up with. I just want to slam it. But they all said I was a natural and they were very impressed with me. So I feel like I should continue on with my skills. And so last week, Lily and I went to the Wicked Pickle in Scarborough. I guess it's South Portland or technically Scarborough. One of those out by the main mall, South Portland. And we played. It was like us and then a bunch of 70-year-olds, which is the norm for that. So try out pickleball if you haven't yet. I know it's been going on for years.
My parents are taking a class.
Yeah,
like they're hiring someone to teach them how to play.
Lots of people do that.
Do they really?
Yes.
I feel like that's like one of those sports you just like, let's figure it out.
No, there's lots of little rules.
Oh my God.
So it's not just figure it out. You should take a class if you're going to play. Or
really?
If you don't have someone to teach you. I mean, they could have like Rocky train them.
I know. They got to call their contacts.
They know a guy.
Yeah. Head of the pickleball.
Our neighbor Rocky is the president of the New England Pickleball Association. Not to brag, but we know Rocky Clark. So I feel like they could learn from him. Like I've never taken a class, but I know a lot of picklers.
One of the surgeons I work with is really into pickleballing. He's so funny because he's actually, for the amount of money that he makes, he's very cheap. He says he's never bought anything not on sale. And he goes to like the discount Costco places to buy discount clothes. But the one thing he spends money on is pickleball. His bracket is like $300.
Yep.
Which is crazy.
Yep.
Because I thought it was like, I don't know, the ones we used in school are like.
I mean, you can use those, but it's going to sound like a little tin can. Like,
isn't that the whole point?
The middle, the core is made of, you want it to be made out of a certain material.
Oh my gosh.
Ask Lily. She's really into pickleball.
Okay.
Sister Lily.
Lily.
Yeah.
I have questions.
Yeah, she's very good.
It just seems for like such a made up sport, it's so serious now.
All sports are made up.
I know, but like this, maybe because
it is very serious and it's easy to make fun of from the outside. And then you play it and you're like, I get it. I understand. Because it's so fun and it's like a really like to be decent at it as long as you're like somewhat coordinated and athletic. It's like a pretty short learning curve. Like then you can always learn more and more skills, and it does get harder the more technical you get.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at the dinking, which is where you're playing like the short game. I just want to stand back and play like tennis where I'm like slamming it. But you want to play really up close. But so there are like more technical skills as you advance, but like to be able to get to a place where you can like play and hit it back and forth, it's like really not that difficult. And a lot of older people do go. So if you guys are like curious about it, but you're feeling intimidated, go check out your local pickleball courts, or if there's like a local pickleball gym near you, go, because you're going to be like the youngest one there. And so I feel like
boost.
Yeah, it's confidence boost. And also just like, there's nothing to feel self-conscious about, you know?
I have a question.
What
is the difference between a pickleball court and a tennis court?
It's smaller. It's much shorter. So the ball doesn't bounce as much as a tennis ball because it's plastic. So it's not nearly as fast. And then also the court is much smaller. And it's really like a short game where you're supposed to be playing up close to the net, but not in the kitchen unless it's already bounced once.
Okay.
So you gotta watch your feet. But it's way less running than tennis. And it's it is a quick game when you're like dinking. You're hitting really, it's pretty quick. Yeah. But not nearly as fast as tennis.
Dinking is a real term?
Yes, it's called dinking. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm excited to get back into it, and soon we'll be able to play in the streets. I've been raised playing pickleball in the streets on our neighborhood court, which is really fun because then we can just like kind of do it whenever. We have a neighborhood group text going on where someone will just text and say, anyone up for a pickleball game? And so you can just go out and play. So we'll have to get you into it. It's really fun. Yeah. Yeah. And don't knock it until you try it. I know it's like a white people thing and it seems silly. And it is.
It nice to be silly sometimes?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like when you stop judging it, there are real problems where they're like taking over places where kids play or where tennis players play.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's just older white people get into anything and then they're like colonizing the basketball courts from the youths. So there's
Leave
definitely
the youths alone.
Yes, let them play. So there's definitely problems with that. But, for the most part, yeah, it's really fun and pretty accessible, because it's, easier on the knees and everything.
That's funny. I didn't know they were colonizing.
Yeah, they're going to colonize. They're going to colonize anything.
White people be colonizing.
They be colonizing. Yeah. Yes. Yep. Kristen, what did you accomplish?
Yeah. I brought all 3 of my cats to the vet one whole trip.
Damn.
Yeah. Same time. I enlisted my niece who was visiting. I was like, oh, I know you love Nana and Bumpa, but wouldn't it be great if you helped your good old Auntie Kristen to bring...
I'm sure she was excited.
Oh, she was excited. Yeah. I wrangled them into the carriers and got them into the car, but I needed help getting all 3 cats from car into the vet office.
Put children to work.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I did. I worked her to the bone because I made her do chicken chores after because she wanted to. I was like,
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then I bought her a huge, and also, can I just comment, child labor, real cheap. I get the appeal because I made her help me bring all 3 of my cats to the vet. And then we drove all the way back to my house. And then she walked my dog for me.
Great.
I know. And then she came out and helped me with chicken chores. And you know what she got in return? Like $6 frozen hot chocolate from Aroma Joe's.
Boom.
And she was happy for the rest of the day.
I'm sure she was.
I was like, man, $6. Yeah. A whole day. This is...
Love that. Cheap child labor.
I get the appeal.
Yeah.
I get why they're doing it.
The children yearn for the mines. They yearn for the chicken chores.
They're like, she's like, how great is this? I'm like, sure.
Sick. Yeah. So fun.
Love to be shoveling poop.
I love a kid that's like excited about a chore, like a vacuum kid. Yes. It's like, you're having a blast.
She got to hold a chicken, and that was like the highlight of the day.
Great.
The dog listened to her. I let her play on the banjo a little bit. You know,
right.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, you are a cool aunt.
A little cool. She's a little scared by Uncle Hank. I forgot about that. It's our skeleton we keep in the living room.
Uncle Hank?
We've named him Uncle Hank, and he's just a part of the decor now. He's a Halloween decoration we forgot to put away, and now he's permanent.
Yeah, because you're just gonna have to take him out again.
Literally,
it's
he's
basically
just a
Halloween.
full-size skeleton that we just keep up. I'll
Great.
post a picture of Uncle
Yeah.
Hank. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice to have some unique home decor.
Yeah, he's in chair. He's just vibing. Sometimes we put him on the couch. Sometimes we don't, you know.
Sick. I support it.
But yeah. So I brought all 3 of the cats to the vet. They all did well. No one needed anything crazy. The boys got shots. And then, you know what? Snickers, she's 15 and a half.
Oh my God.
She's beyond the age where they would recommend any shots.
Oh, great.
I was like,
Just see what happens.
I was like rabies and stuff. Like I thought that was like a must. And she's like, her rabies will last like 3 years, and she got it last year because she's so
not
old.
going outside or anything.
And they're like, listen, she's declawed and she lives in your bedroom.
Yeah.
She's gonna be fine.
Yes.
I go, okay, but what about diphtheria? And they're like, no.
Where would she get diphtheria from?
I was like, well, we have a dog now, and the dog can bring the diphtheria in, and the cat. They're like, your younger cats, yeah, sure. This one's fine.
Yeah.
So she's outaged her shots. They're like, it's more harm than good, and she really hates our vet. Apparently,
I would hate the vet too. Honestly,
yeah. The boys did fine, and she usually does really well at the vet. But I think she's just old and cranky, and her joints hurt. So now, every time we go to the vet, she hisses at him, and I'm like, I'm really sorry. She really hates you.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I can see that.
I'm sure vets understand.
Yeah.
It's like our mailman with the dog. I'm always apologizing that Lucy barks at him. He's like, I get it.
She's also declawed, so she's like not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah,
she can try and
fine.
bite, but she's not going to. It's too much energy for her.
Yeah.
So
she's fine.
yeah.
Maybe just stop taking her to the vet. Just let her live. Let her live her life.
I just wanted to make sure she was okay. I thought she needed another shot, and they're like, no. They're also like, are all 3 here? I go, well, yeah, the appointment is for 3 of them. And they're like, well, usually like people with multiple cats are not able to like catch them all. I was like, oh, call me Ash. I'm catching them all.
Yeah, you are.
Pokemon style.
Great Pokemon reference.
Got them all. It was an event, but we got there. John Ralphio ripped off a toenail, trying to get out of his cage, which is why he stays in the cage.
The boy will not be caged.
He will be caged when I put him in the cage. I put him in his crate. He has a hard crate because he can't be trusted with soft crates because he eats plastic and he eats zippers. And then it's an event. Anyway, I'm really proud of myself for getting all 3 of them there.
Quite the accomplishment.
Why it was wild.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I should take a video of this, and then it was just like all you heard the whole ride over was. And I was just like, get me out of here.
That sounds terrible.
It was so. And then by the time we get to my parents' house to pick up my niece, they were all quiet. And I was like, oh, now you're quiet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nothing to say.
Yeah. And my niece was like, the cats are really good in the car. I'm like, they're not.
She's an animal whisperer.
She is an animal whisperer.
Really is.
She really
it's
is.
Impressive.
Yeah. I'm proud of her.
Yeah. I'm proud of her too.
But that's my little compass.
Good job.
Thank you.
All
Let's
right.
get
into
I'm
that
excited for part
meat,
2.
right?
Yeah. Let's get into our meat.
All right. For the meat today, it is the meat.
It is meat.
We've got part 2 of stuttering. Go back and listen to part 1 if you haven't already. Cover some good stuff like what is stuttering, what is happening with the speech mechanism. Kristen shares some of her personal experience with stuttering. I talk about my grad program.
Yeah, I didn't know we had like an expert witness here, but we do. It's Grace.
Of course I am an expert.
Yeah.
I went to grad school for this.
Well, I mean, I knew you're an expert, but like, I didn't know you like specialized in stuttering.
I did specialize in stuttering. Yeah, if you know anyone who's like interested in speech pathology or has ever shown any interest in it, I really would look into UVM's program for grad school.
Question.
Yeah.
Personal
You
question.
can just ask.
How did you like get into speech pathology? Because I understood, like when I was looking at like med programs and PA programs, like I shadowed and like I was like in and out of the hospital with my grandpa a lot. So like I figured out whose job roles were what. But speech path, I was kind of like I didn't really understand what that was until 1, you told me about it, and 2, I started working as a actual PA and like figuring it out. Like I didn't how does one like find out about the career?
Yeah, it is kind of like one of those lesser known things.
Kind of in the
I feel like unless you were like a kid who grew up going to speech, and even then people don't really like when I said I was a speech pathologist, even if it would come out eventually that person did go to speech, they're never like, oh, I worked with a speech pathologist. They're like, I think I had to go to something like that. I had trouble with my S's and I had to go to a room with a lady. I was like, that was a speech pathologist. Yeah. Like
just
most people
closet
don't. Yeah.
Didn't really tell me why.
Yeah. Like I feel like it's not really talked about. Even if you did go to speech, you don't maybe realize that you went to speech. But if you had trouble with articulation sounds and you had to go to a room and work with a lady, you went to speech. That was speech.
Did you go to speech ever?
No. I didn't. My mom did though. I guess she had trouble with her R's and S's.
Really?
Yeah. So I didn't really know about speech. I was undeclared in undergrad. And then actually Nick Viola, I don't know how he
that's right.
started it, but he was going to school for speech, one of my friends. And I was like thinking about psychology or sociology. And he knew that I was really big into like language and everything. And so he recommended I look into it.
Yeah.
And so I did. And also Owen Klimoff, our neighbors up at camp, my friend Owen, who had childhood cancer, and then passed away at 15. He had to work with a speech pathologist because of all like the treatments, and he had brain tumors. And so he had to like relearn how to walk and speak. And so he worked with an SLP like in the hospital. And so once Nick kind of brought up speech pathology to me, then I kind of was able to make that connection of like a hospital-based SLP. What do they do? And I always thought that was really cool that this person like helped him regain his speech. So that was kind of my only experience with it. And even then, yeah, I had never really seen a school-based speech pathologist. I just kind of like picked it because I like language and psychology. And I don't know, it seemed interesting. And then grad school is really where I actually like got experience. Like from semester 1 of grad school, we were like in the classroom in schools.
That's how it should be.
Yeah. I mean, it was scary, but it was helpful because we would learn about, like the technique of like tongue placement for how to fix an R sound. And it'd be like, pay attention because you're going to need to do this with a student next week. So it was scary, but also very helpful.
That's
of like, it
fair.
It wasn't just like theoretical knowledge. It was like, you better learn this skill because you will be doing it tomorrow. So I thought it was scary, but also very helpful. And we also had like clinic in our like grad school building. So we would also work with clients there and we would get placed in schools. So we got a lot of experience.
Damn.
Yeah. And then we had to do like a summer hospital rotation in between year 1 and year 2.
Did you do it at UVM?
That's when I went down to Charleston.
Oh.
That was fucking terrible. That's where I worked with Debbie, little troll woman. Hope you're dead, Debbie. She was racist and terrible. Yeah, I was talking about Debbie and how she told my supervisor that Grace actually needs to be full-time 5 days a week so she doesn't miss anything. She just wanted me to do her work for her.
Love that.
Fuck you, Debbie. But anyways, I did do a hospital placement and I'm bummed because I feel like I would have liked it more if I didn't have Debbie. But she was like 65 and was just so over it and burnt out. So
ready
she would
to
just like
retire.
have patients do like computer stuff, which is not proper technique, and like it would just be like bullshit stuff that's like, this isn't actually doing anything.
Right.
She said, what am I like, I would ask her, why don't you retire? What am I going to do? Sit home and stare at my husband all day? Yeah, do it. Because at least
you hate
patients wouldn't be
life.
suffering.
Yeah.
Yes. God, she truly was. She looked like a little troll doll.
Did you ever do like swallow studies, like barium swallows
I
and all
did.
that fun stuff?
Yeah, I had to take a swallowing class.
Ugh.
And then we did that, in the hospital. I hated that. It really yucked.
I hate swallowing and I hate anything to do with like secretions.
Stomas. Yeah.
Trach care. Every once in a while, I'm like, maybe I picked the wrong career and I should have been like a nurse anesthetist because they make more money, they got a better lifestyle and a better schedule. And then something happens, but they're extubating and there's just like so many secretions and like, or they're like sucking out all the juices from the trachea. I'm like, made the right choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a gross job, but there are grosser.
Yeah. And that was like something that really turned me off for working in the hospital. Yeah. I would have to work. We worked with like stroke patients who had trouble swallowing, and we would do like the thickened liquids, and we would have to do, the modified barium swallow studies, or I would always be like, because we would have to watch the tapes of the modified barium swallowing. You have to see like what's going on with the whole swallowing mechanism. And then you would have to like decide what thickness of liquid they need and what stage they're at. I'm like, I don't know. Like I visually cannot, I'd always be wrong. Like,
I've seen them too, and I'm like, I mean, it's going down.
Yeah, I just
feel vomiting.
Like, I feel like I am pretty good at like listening for like speech sounds and stuff like that, compared to like visually. My brain just like, my eyes and my brain just cannot process what's going on. I'm like, looks fine to me. Like, no, he actually aspirated. Like, well, this isn't the role for me. If I were to go back to speech, it would either be obviously working like with autistic and ADHD kids on social skills, stuttering, or maybe like voice stuff. Because I do feel like working with trans clients would be really cool.
That would be really cool.
Of helping them like find their voice when they've transitioned. That's like so cool.
That is really cool.
All right. So in this part 2 of my stuttering episode, I'm going to get more into like what is possibly going on in the brain and the body that causes stuttering.
Do we know for sure?
No.
Oh, a mystery.
Yeah, it's kind of like ADHD and autism, where it's like we see these different things that are going on, and even then it's not the full picture because it's just so complex and there's a lot to it. So, but there are a few things that contribute to it. I'm going to talk about comorbidities, and then I'll talk about therapies and treatments for stuttering.
Yes. Let's do it.
All right. So what causes stuttering? So starting in 2010, researchers at the National Institute on Deafness and Other Communication Disorders have identified 4 different genes in which mutations are associated with stuttering. All of these genes encode proteins that direct traffic within cells, ensuring that various cell components get to their proper location within the cell. And such deficits in cellular trafficking are a newly recognized cause of many neurological disorders. So now, since they've discovered that, I think in the next few years, we're going to see more research into this that'll kind of lock down exactly what's going on. But that kind of like opened up this new area of research. So now researchers are studying how this deficit in cellular trafficking leads to specific deficits in speech fluency. A lack of organized structure in those cells could reflect fewer connections in this area, or connections traveling in multiple directions, crossing each other, rather than lining up to travel all in one direction. So instead of like all of the communication traveling one way, it could be like some are going this way, some are going that way. So they're not all like
I see. Okay.
flowing together.
It's disorganized.
Yes. So yeah, that's one aspect of it, is those genes encoding proteins that direct traffic within the cells. Another thing I was reading about, and all of these links are in the resources. This article is called Stuttering, Stop Signals in the Brain Prevent Fluent Speech. So previous studies showed imbalanced activities of the 2 brain hemispheres in people who stutter compared to fluent speakers. A region in the left frontal brain is hypoactive, which is like underactive. And that's where your language area is, in your left frontal brain. Whereas the corresponding region in the right hemisphere is hyperactive. So they don't know exactly what the cause of this imbalance is. But essentially what that means is the part of your right hemisphere that they're seeing like this hyperactivity in it. So parts specifically of the right inferior frontal gyrus are particularly active when we stop actions such as hand or speech movements. So that's the part of your brain that is putting a halt to stuff. And they are seeing like an overactivity of stutterers in that area of the brain. So they see that that area is overactive when stutterers are speaking. So if that region is overactive, it obviously like hinders other brain areas that are involved in the initiation and termination of movements. And then in people who stutter, the brain regions that are responsible for speech movements are particularly affected. So it's like an overactivity of that stop signal in the brain, which is obviously not what you want when you're trying to have fluent speech.
You want go.
You want go. This has too much stop. So it's not necessarily like trouble with getting started. It might be that like you're trying to go, but the brakes are on.
Okay.
Yeah, which is really interesting.
It's interesting.
Yeah. And so these scientists at the Max Planck Institute for Human Cognitive and Brain Sciences kind of have been putting that research together where they think that hyperactivity in the regions of the right hemisphere seems to be like a central cause of stuttering. Yeah, they also saw that it was affecting like the left inferior frontal gyrus, which processes the planning of speech movements, and then the left motor cortex, which controls the actual speech movements. So then they're saying if those processes are sporadically inhibited, the affected person is unable to speak fluently. So it makes sense that there's like stuff going on in the speech, like coordination areas of the brain. But like I said, it's not an issue of the actual like language area itself, in the sense that it's not trouble with like coming up with what to say. So if you're having trouble with coming up with what to say, that's something different than stuttering. Stuttering is always going to be, you know what you want to say. It's not an issue of like word finding or anything like that. It is truly just an issue of getting it from that area in the brain where you fully have what you want to say, fully formed. And then it's like getting the movement of speech out. Oh, yeah. Okay. So the way that they investigated like how that was happening. So the researchers used MRI imaging in adults who have stuttered since childhood. And then in the study, they had the participants imagine themselves saying the names of the months, but they just had them imagine it without actually verbally speaking it. So that way they didn't get mixed up with like the actual speech movements that could like interfere with the signals. Like they just wanted to kind of study specifically them coming up with what they're going to say, as opposed to like, you know, because people who stutter can also have trouble with their actual like physical speech mechanism, and they didn't want to get those things confused.
I see. Okay.
Where you could have like some kind of, you know, motor delay or motor disability where there is, you know, like you have like partial tongue paralysis, or like there's something wrong with like your larynx or something that also physically impacts the speech coming out. They just wanted to look at what's going on when the language area comes up with what to say, and then it's like sending it to the mouth, but the mouth isn't actually activating to speak yet. So
Okay.
then they could look at those brain scans, and they were looking at the modified fiber tracts in the overactive right hemisphere regions. And they found that the fiber tract in the hyperactive right network was much stronger in stutterers than those without the speech disorders.
The hyperactive right network.
Yeah, your right hemisphere network.
Okay.
So that's where that stop
I
area
see.
is.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Just get my lefts and rights confused. Okay.
That's hard. You're dyslexic. Yeah.
Okay. Brain science is hard.
It really is. Yeah. Especially because you can't like see it. So you don't really have like something to like, yeah, put the words into like the things that you're seeing. I did a lot of brain anatomy. And even then I feel like
Yeah.
I'm not that great at it. And I've taken quite a few brain anatomy classes.
I know the basics, but I try to stay away from the brain.
Smart.
If we're up in the brain, it's a bad way to do surgery. There's a specific
you
surgeon.
shouldn't be up there.
Brain surgeons should be in the brain.
Yes.
And non-brain surgeons
Stay out of the brain.
Stay out of that brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there are like a few other areas and theories about like what could also be contributing to stuttering. I'm not going to go into all of them right now because there are like a few different thoughts about what's causing it. But I feel like that one, it felt the most straightforward to me. And it does seem to be like it's pretty proven at this point that is part of it, where that right hemisphere is overactive. And that's like that halt area of the brain. So that sucks that you're like trying to speak and like the brakes are on. So
It's a perfect analogy.
Right?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad I could break that down. I have trouble with that sometimes. All right. And then because like that first study that I was talking about the genes encoding the proteins that like direct traffic within the cells, that makes sense that there is a genetic component to stuttering because
so
it's
you could
in the genes.
pass down your stuttering
Yes.
from parent to offspring.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's not like an automatic thing. It won't definitely happen, but it's just more likely to happen.
I see.
And I'm still fascinated and curious about like what is the relationship to gender and left-handedness.
Yeah.
Because
Do we know?
No, not really. I'll have to do more research and see what I can find.
Yeah.
Mysteries of the Abandoned. Have you watched that show?
No.
It's really good.
Mystery Science Theater 3000?
No, it's called Mysteries of the Abandoned.
Oh.
All right, I'm going to talk about comorbidities next.
Yeah.
Comorbidities.
I love comorbidities.
Right? Fascinating.
It's fascinating.
Love a good comorbidity. So there are, of course, comorbidities with stuttering because it is a neurodivergence. And so you are just like with ADHD and autism and dyslexia and OCD and everything.
All connected.
It's all connected, man.
It's a Pepe Sylvia situation.
Goes all the way to the top. There is no Carol in HR. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the comorbidities.
Yeah.
So I was reading this one article called Associations Between Stuttering, Comorbid Conditions, and Executive Function in Children. So present findings do find that there are quite a few comorbidities for people who stutter, and it seems a lot of the comorbid conditions seem to negatively impact executive functioning. And that could be ADHD, could be autism, a few different learning disorders, but there is a connection with like ADHD.
Interesting.
Especially. People who stutter have been reported to show weaker executive functioning, especially phonological working memory, attentional skills, and inhibitory control. So like impulsiveness. And once again, like with all these things, as I was just reading about these comorbidities, it's like how much of this is just because like it's a comorbid disorder and how much of it is because so much mental energy is going towards like trying not to stutter or like having to focus especially hard on your words. And then you're paying less attention because your brain is so focused on like your communication abilities, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like masking.
Yeah.
Where you're putting so much energy and effort into like holding it together, and you're probably putting a lot of wear and tear on your nervous system. So is it necessarily that all of these disorders are like pure disorders that are just naturally comorbid, or do some of these like traits kind of develop because the stuttering and the language component does take up so much mental space and wears on your nervous system, you know?
Yeah. That's a difficult question.
I know.
Because it must be exhausting to have a stutter.
Imagine.
Because anytime you want to talk, it's a thing.
Yes.
That you have to, it's like one more thing. You have to think about speaking, which usually in our cases, we don't really think before we speak.
No.
The less thinking I do, the better.
Right? Just have it flow out of me.
So if you have to constantly,
both be surprised with what I say.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not just thinking about what you have to say, but how you're going to say it.
Right.
And like, how am I going to get around this if I get stuck here? Right. You're probably always having to think ahead.
Anxiety leading up to the situation.
And the
shame.
Yes.
That's exhausting.
And you got to think about like eye contact. And then you got to think about, you know, because if you're talking to new people, you don't know how they're going to react. You don't know if they're going to know what's going on or if they're going to be patient with you. Like there's just so many things like I can't imagine. And we really, really take speaking for granted. Like that was the main thing that I was taught in my grad program was like, if you don't have a communication disorder, you don't realize just how like severely detrimental it is to your life to have trouble with communication. All right. So we know about executive functioning. There's like the 7 different executive functions, but executive attention oversees available resources for cognitive processes, including speech production. So like the more you struggle with executive function and executive attention, the fewer resources you have for cognitive processes, including speech production. So kind of like what I was talking about, where if you struggle with executive functioning, you already are at a deficit. And then on top of that, what you have left is going to have to go to like focusing on just your speech.
There's gonna be nothing left.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
like,
nothing left to
I
do
can't
anything
imagine.
else.
I know. I already like have terrible time blindness. I'm like bumping into things all the time. I'm terrible with like organization. I can't imagine if like what little executive functioning I had to go to my communication.
Right.
You know, like that's so much.
Now I have to think about what I say.
Yeah. And like how I'm going to say it and like the shame of it too. I feel like we already have so much shame around
All of
our impulsiveness
things.
with speaking or saying the wrong thing or not knowing what to say or being like awkward or stumbling over our words.
And also like, you know, we talk about like things that you can't, it's hard to really measure, like the time blindness, the executive function. This you can like clearly measure, like, is there a stutter or is there not, and how impactful on their daily lives it is. But it's so measurable. It's so noticeable because
so
it's like
noticeable.
the one thing you need to do to communicate is speak.
Yes. Yeah, really. And it's so, there's so much stigma about like intelligence when it comes to stuttering. Like there is no correlation between intelligence and stuttering. It really has zero reflection on your intelligence. But because that is such a big stigma of like, if you stutter, people think that you have some kind of cognitive disability or that you're stupid or that you don't know what words you're trying to say, or there's just like a lot of like really cruel stereotypes about it. So imagine being like a fucking middle schooler and stuttering.
Oh my God. Yeah.
The cruelty. I can't even imagine.
Because middle schoolers are awful.
They're brutal.
But also like, you know, like how are your teachers treating you and how, you know,
are they giving you opportunities to speak? I think sometimes adults think that they're doing kids a favor by like skipping over them or like not making them speak publicly. But once again, it's like exposure therapy where like the fewer opportunities they're given, the less practice they have with it. And the more that shame builds and the more that fear around it builds. And also then they develop this idea of like, I'm not worthy of speaking, or we don't have time for me to like get my words out and let me like read out loud.
Right.
So it's like really hard to, I think, for like adults and probably teachers to navigate that. If you don't, like, I wouldn't want to make a kid with a severe stutter read out loud, knowing how painful it is, but also you don't want to just skip a kid because he stutters, because then you teach them, that like you aren't good enough at talking.
Right. And you also teach the other kids, you know, they're not as valuable.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Not worthy of listening to. Yeah. So I think it's really hard for like adults to know how to navigate stuttering sometimes. So when I get to like strategies and interventions, I hope that'll help people just to kind of increase your understanding of how to support people who stutter.
Ugh, remember reading Shakespeare out loud in class?
Ew, yeah.
And to like,
God, I bet you were just dying.
I would count to see like, I was one of those people who would like figure out what my lines were that I had to read.
I would do that too.
And then just like, I don't even know what we read. I just know the lines that I had to read. Some people liked reading out loud. Like, what the shit? What was wrong with people?
Yeah, I didn't like it. I would do the same thing where I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And then I would just practice it in my head over and over.
Even reading to my nephews out loud and like when they were little for like bedtime, I'm like, okay. And then they'd like correct me and I'm like, God damn it.
That's the worst.
And you're like, sorry, can't read. Auntie can't read well. Auntie struggles.
Lewis always wants me to read Pokemon books out loud to him. I get all the names wrong.
Yeah,
he's like,
the dinosaur books.
He's getting mad at me. Oh my God, dinosaurs.
I used to know many dinosaurs, but there have been new dinosaurs that I don't know.
Yep.
Or one time I babysat a kid who was bilingual and she was like insistent that I read her a German book. And I'm like,
girl,
listen, no.
I literally can't.
Can't.
No.
Cannot.
No.
How about you read me this book? She was very upset.
The old reversal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. It sucks when a kid makes fun of you for not knowing certain Pokemon names or whatever. I'm like, listen, bitch, I know so many words that you could not read. So let's not get judgmental.
A lot of things, okay?
Yeah.
I know how to pump gas and drive a car.
Yeah. Can I reach the pedals? Little punk.
Give it a rest.
Yeah. I'm a really good skater, little girl.
Yeah.
Watch. You might learn something. Right. Let's see. Yeah. So more difficulty managing attention for people who stutter. There's a prevalence of learning disabilities and developmental delays. behavioral disorders. There's kids who stutter struggle more with expressive language, obviously, receptive language, articulation, phonology, and ADHD.
Behavior disorders, would that be like oppositional defiance disorder or?
Probably, but then they have listed like expressive language disorder. That's not a behavioral disorder. That's a language disorder. None of those are behavioral disorders. Those are communication.
Interesting.
And they've also like prior studies, and these are all just like population based studies where they're not like brain measurements and everything. They're more like surveys and everything. So you can only, information is only going to be so accurate because you're having like parent and kid input, but that's kind of the best way to measure this stuff. They also, some studies found higher rates of like socio-emotional disorders, psychological distress and anxiety, which like fucking duh in stutterers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you need a study to prove it.
Yep.
So
yeah, but also like duh. Yeah. And then they also found higher rates of like medical diseases such as diabetes, asthma, and sickle cell anemia, which I don't know what's up with that.
That is interesting.
Right?
That is interesting.
I know. Maybe you can dive more into the research side of this because I can only understand so much, you know?
That is interesting.
Right?
Why?
I know. I don't
Genetic?
really like asthma. Yeah, it must be genetic, but like, I don't know, like the ADHD thing makes sense for me. But again, is it pure ADHD or is it they're so focused on other stuff that they're not able to give their attention and executive functioning to other things?
So gray.
I know. It's
like,
so gray.
I trust nothing, which is good.
Yes.
You should question studies like this, but
yes.
Sorry, I'm like really leaning. Your thigh
really
is
are
warm on my toesies.
Yeah, I'm quite warm in here.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into interventions.
Yeah.
And this is kind of
what are we going to do about it?
This is kind of more my area because obviously I learned a lot about that other stuff, but most of being a speech pathologist is the intervening aspect of it.
Sitting like that?
I got a pillow underneath me and I'm just kind of like...
You're like a mermaid. You know how they're like sitting on the rock like that? That's nice.
Oh yeah, it's because I'm part mermaid.
I feel like if I do that, I'm just going to like...
Slip and slide?
Yeah.
Don't do that. I don't know.
I'll just sit like this.
You don't need to sit like me.
Well, I just thought it looked nice.
Thank you. Never been told that before.
Okay, continue.
So, when to provide intervention for kids who stutter, because like we said, a lot of kids grow out of it. It's just kind of a developmental aspect of like learning language, especially like I'm sure there it is more prevalence, like the more complicated a language is. I'm sure there probably are more kids who stutter when learning that language.
I have a question. The diagnosis, you know, like with ADHD, it's like you must have this, here's criteria and here's minor criteria and here's, is it just like yay or nay? You study or you stutter or you don't?
No, there's like a rating scale to figure out because there's like a mild stutter, a moderate stutter, severe stutter. And so you're measuring like the
how many
words
stutters
per minute based on, and then how many stutters per word. Yeah. So there's like a very, which is nice that there's a very like objective way to measure stuttering.
That is nice.
Yeah. It's nice that it isn't ambiguous, and it's really easy to measure also like progress too, because you just have that easy calculation. So the main thing, especially like for younger kids, but for everyone, but like with the youngest kids who are exhibiting stuttering, which usually comes around, you know, when they start speaking, but especially like 3 to 6 is when you see a lot of those stutters emerging. But the main thing is you really want to just ingrain this really positive attitude about communication. That really is like the main intervention for young kids, is just not developing that shame around it, because the more shame it is, the more neural connections they're creating around communication, and then the more likely that stutter is going to be to like remain in adulthood. So experts recommend getting an evaluation if the child has stuttered for like 3 to 6 months, if they exhibit struggle behaviors associated with stuttering. So like the younger they are, the way less like stress and facial strain you'll see. And that's a good sign. Like you don't want them to look like they're trying really, really hard. And the less like strain you're seeing, the more likely it is that it's just related to like a developmental language thing. Yeah. Or they're like, I was talking about with like that tightness in the mouth where like, or they're sometimes you'll see them like leaning forward, almost like they want to like spit it out.
I see. Okay.
Whereas some kids, it's crazy. You'll just see them stutter, but they're like so unfazed by it. And so they're not really, they haven't developed any of that like stress or like muscle tightness surrounding their stutter.
Okay.
So if you are seeing, or sometimes you'll see like the tight blinking, it's essentially like any type of body movement, facial movement that seems like they're really like pushing to get this word out. That is when it's more of a concern that you might need to have some intervention.
Okay.
So if you see like, or a reluctance to speak is another one. Like if kids are stuttering to the point where they're not wanting to answer questions, or they're like holding back from speaking, or if they get like really discouraged, like they are trying to get their words out and then they get stuck and then they just like shut down. That is very much when you do want to take them in for an evaluation, because like it's one of those things where you don't want to like jump on it too soon if it's just a developmental thing, but you also want to get to it soon enough where they're not going to develop this shame surrounding it and they're not going to like shy away from communicating. So
that's so sad.
It is really sad. Yeah, I know. I had a few like little kids who stuttered and it was really sad, but also that's the best shot of, nipping it in the bud before it like really impacts them. I've heard, I mean, obviously it's going to be different and who knows now. I feel like kids are punks.
Kids are punks.
It was like Ben said that like elementary school wasn't too bad. It was really like middle school is when kids started bullying him for it. But a lot of like my elementary schoolers, they didn't really seem to get bullied that much for it. It's like, I'm sure there are plenty of kids who do, but it really seems like middle school is where it really ramps up socially, which makes sense.
Does make sense. Middle school's harsh.
Middle school is brutal and everyone's so insecure about their own shit that it's like, if I have something I can point out about someone else, then like the shame isn't pointed at me. So I'm going to pounce on that,
I feel like everybody's pouncing on everybody.
Yes.
There's like a lot of emotions. There's hormones.
They stink.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I can't imagine being a middle school teacher.
No.
Another time you want to kind of jump right on that intervention is if you have a family history of stuttering or related communication disorders, then it might be a bit more of a flag to kind of get them in for an evaluation. If it's like, grandpa was always a stutterer, then you might want to kind of get in quicker for that intervention. And really like for kids, the treatment is really revolving the parents. Like when I worked with little kids who stuttered, it was always like very family based because it's really the parents that are learning these skills to like support their kids' speech, as opposed to like being an SLP in an elementary school where you're working with like articulation stuff. You're obviously working like one-on-one with the kid because they have to learn how to form the R properly in their mouth. So it's a lot of like modeling and having them watch. Whereas with stuttering, you're really teaching the parents kind of how to do these things day to day. So for like little kids, before you get to the point where you're doing kind of more intense direct intervention, there's more like indirect interventions that you can use. So it's really about like providing a really relaxed home environment that allows many opportunities for the kid to speak. So really setting aside time to like talk one-on-one with the kid. A lot of families, and it's hard because of capitalism and working and parents are very busy and it's easy to kind of, we got to go. We got to get your words out. Like we got to go. And then families are busy all the time. And maybe there's like multiple kids and everyone's like fighting to talk.
Like a schedule and
So it's really important to really set aside, it can be like before bedtime or like, just set aside some time for unstructured, like relaxed communication where the kid can kind of just like say what they have to say. And there's not going to be like a stressful time limit. And it's not like a super important message that they need to like get across, where you're not asking them of like, what did Mrs. So-and-so say you needed for school tomorrow? It's like just letting them talk about fucking Pokemon or like literally whatever they want, just build in time where they're like excited to speak and just let them speak.
About something that they're passionate about or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Something that where if they get stuck on their words a bunch, totally fine and chill. You're really just creating that positive communication environment where they're not developing that negative feedback. And they will learn that like, even if I get stuck on my words, like mommy's still listening, you know? So that's really important. And then obviously like listening attentively. And these can be strategies for speaking with anyone who stutters. This is just like specifically for like indirect intervention for those little kids. Listening attentively and really showing them that you're listening. Really focus on like the content of the message rather than like, don't make any comments about how they're speaking. Like just kind of don't draw any attention to it. Don't make them even
it's difficult.
Like, think, yes, but just kind of go to a different place. Just keep that contact with them as if they were speaking to you the whole time, even if they're like stuck on sounds. Just keep, you know, showing them that you're listening. Don't like do not get on your phone when a kid is like talking to you and they're stuttering. Please don't pick up your phones. That sounds like so, yeah, it's so shameful for that kid of like, well, just lost their attention.
Yeah.
Don't interrupt them when they're stuck. Do not finish their words or their sentences. There are some stutterers who want people to finish their sentences for them when they're really stuck.
Don't do it.
But most people do not. And if they do want you to, it would be a thing where they would like tell you. And it would be something where it's like a close relationship with people, you know, where it's like you've established that like it's okay to jump in at a certain point because I know what they're going to say and I can tell they're really struggling and they would prefer it if I would just like finish the sentence for them. But that's like a very specific thing that some stutterers have that most don't. And until that's been established, just err on the side of don't do it.
Don't do it.
Please don't do it.
Don't do it.
Because yeah, that takes away their autonomy and it makes them feel like they can't even get their words out without someone being like, yeah. Like I know what you're going to say. And then kind of going
that's
in,
so
you know?
hard.
Yeah.
I not even with stutterers, I do that.
I know it's very hard, especially if you have ADHD. It's really hard to like,
it's so
control
hard.
the impulsiveness, but it really is very, very important that we all work on our mindfulness and our patience and allowing people to like say what they need to say. So I think it's a lesson for all of us. Yeah.
It's tough.
And especially working with kids, you know, where sometimes they'll go on and it's like, okay, I get what you're saying. But like with stuttering, you really want to create that positive space for them to just speak freely.
Or someone who takes a long pause.
Yep.
I know someone like that. And I'm just like, tell me what you're trying to say.
Yes, it's so hard.
Like I went to the store the other day and I saw your aunt and you're like,
spit it out. Yes. Yep. Yeah. It can be difficult, but I feel like that's, you know, this is just as much about the communication partners, aka us, as it is about like the stutterer. And then when you are speaking to someone who stutters, especially like with a little kid, you can also like to support them, slow your speech down and try to relax your speech as much as possible. Because if you're a stutterer and you're talking to someone who's like talking really, really fast like this, then you feel more pressure of like, I have to keep up with this pace. I gotta like squeeze my words in. Whereas if you're just kind of like you slow your speed down a little bit and just show them like, this is a chill conversation, you know, take our time, then they'll feel more comfortable taking their time, which will help them get their speech out.
Get that speech out.
Get that speech out where it came from. Or so help me. So help me. She's out of our hands. It's hair.
Oh. I thought it was hands.
No, she's out of our hair.
She's out of our hands.
She's out of our hair. As in like we don't have to deal with her anymore. She's out of our hair.
Out of our hands as in like she's escaped.
No, she's out of our hair.
I gotta watch that movie again.
One of my favorites. Put that thing back where it came from or so help me. Also, let's see. I already said don't finish their shit.
Don't do it.
Don't. So I know I said like don't draw attention to a kid's speech like in the moment if they're getting stuck, but also if a kid is struggling with it or if they bring up the subject especially, then talk to them about it and let them know that it's okay. Like, because it can be very confusing for kids to be like, why the hell can't I get my words out?
Yeah.
So if they do bring it up, don't, because then you can also create shame in a different way of like, we don't talk about that. We avoid it, you know, where it's not a bad thing. It's a neutral thing. You don't want to like draw attention to it all the time, especially in moments where they are stuck, where you're like, you're getting really stuck on that.
Your
like,
stutter's really bad
yeah,
today.
Yeah. Or like,
you're like really struggling.
we got to get you to a doctor because that's not normal.
You can't speak at all today.
Yeah. So you don't want to create shame by like pointing it out in the moment and like having these negative associations with it. But you also don't want to create shame by like refusing to talk about it and being like, what are you talking about? Your speech is totally normal. It's the very like, I don't see color type of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you're actually just creating like a different stigma by implying that it's like a bad thing that we don't talk about.
Right.
So it's not a bad thing. It's a neutral thing. And if they do bring it up to you, it is important to talk to them about it and talk about how, you know, it's okay. Some disruptions happen in your speech depending on their age. You know, you can give them more information about like the things we've talked about in these episodes. Like if they are the type of kid that wants to know what's going on, I think it would be helpful to explain to them like what stuttering is, why it happens, all in a positive, supportive way of, you know, like if it is something that really bothers you, we could take you to a speech pathologist and we can kind of ask them about it and see if, you know, there are things we can work on, but just kind of keeping it like really positive and really like neutral. And then for specific treatments, like I said, you can like slow down your speech. It's called like the slowed down speech technique. Pretty straightforward, where you're slowing down your own speech and you're really giving the model of not that slow.
Your knee.
Not that slow, but
I need parameters.
Just kind of talking like this, where you kind of imagine that you're high and that you're on a beach. Things are wicked chill. And we're all just going to like take our time speaking slowly and comfortably.
I like that.
Right?
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can try that. You can add in like more pauses and just like holding them for a little bit longer than you normally would. You can also like,
just like that.
Yes, no. Just like that. That was an example. Yeah. You can kind of like model their sentences back to them at a bit of a slower speed. Like if they have a sentence where they're really getting stuck on it, like if they say like I went to music class today, you could be like, oh, you went to music class today, where you're kind of modeling it back in a slow, easy, relaxed way. You're not like showing them that you're like correcting them. You're just kind of giving them a model of like saying that same sentence nice and smooth.
It's like an
and
art
slow.
Form to kind of like navigate this.
It really is.
Tough.
Yeah.
Did you work with a lot of stutterers?
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
In the schools?
I had a few in the schools, but especially like in clinic in my grad program, I worked with one kid, Ryan, who was like 6, and he had a pretty severe stutter. And so obviously like, the mom or dad would come in and work with us. We would do the Lidcombe program, which is what I'm about to talk about. And then I also helped out. We had like a school aged stutterer support group that we did at clinic.
Good.
So
yeah,
so that was like really cool. We would do things like, you know, you draw your stutter like as a monster, like you personify them. And it was a lot of just kind of like, you know, just camaraderie of different kids who stutter, because it is a pretty rare thing. And I can't think of anyone from childhood who like had a severe stutter. Can you?
No.
Like anyone in school?
No, there were a couple speech impediments, but not stuttering.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone who had like a severe stutter. So it is like a pretty rare thing. And I can't imagine being like the only kid like in your class that stutters. So it was really nice to just like give them a place to just like meet other stutterers. And that is a good way to kind of like normalize and
Stutter
neutralize
daycare.
it. Yeah, it's really nice. So then for the Lidcombe program, that's what I did with a lot of my kids in clinic. So this is for kids like 3 to 6 years old, where it's like a whole program. This isn't just something that like those other ones are just kind of indirect techniques you can use to kind of support a kid's speech. This is more structured where you would want to like learn the specifics behind it before doing it. But it's all about like encouraging their brain to speak more fluently without them like consciously learning specific techniques. So you would do things like kind of more indirect comments. Like we would talk about like bumpy speech or like smooth speech. So after they say a smooth sentence, and we would just do this like while we're playing games or whatever, you want to create like lots of speaking opportunities for them. But we would just be playing like a game that had nothing to do with communication. And then if Ryan would say a sentence and it was smooth, I would say, oh, good talking, no bumps. Or you would say like, I'm loving that smooth, easy speech, man. So you're just kind of like praising.
Jive talking.
Yeah. So the way
the Bee Gees? No?
No, I don't know.
You don't know it?
I don't know her. Yeah.
Just kidding.
Okay.
It's this song called Jive Talking.
Oh, all right. Jive talking. So like with this program, you kind of progress. You start with just commenting on their smooth speech and you don't like point out bumps. You're just, anytime you hear a smooth sentence, you're just reinforcing, you know, nice, smooth speech. And then you kind of, after they're comfortable with that, because it's very emotional based, where if a kid is really having negative reactions, you wouldn't want to move on to like pointing out bumps until they're comfortable with it. So then after they're comfortable with kind of talking about their smooth speech, then you're going to ask them to evaluate their own speech of like, was that smooth? Or did you hear any bumps there? And you're really setting them up to like just be listening to their own speech without the shame attached to it. And then you can kind of get to the point where they are, if they like they're self-identifying bumpy speech, and then they can go back and like try the sentence again. And then once they've tried it a second time, if they're still bumpy, move on. You're not going to have them like do it over and over and over again.
Any equine therapy or anything?
Not that I came across, but I'm sure there is. There's equine therapy for like any type of disorder. Yeah.
Magic of horses.
Yes. I went.
No horse trains though.
There was no horse trains, unfortunately. Could be a new type of therapy.
Could
Stuttering
be.
therapy on a horse train.
You got to write a book.
I think I do.
Horse train therapy for stuttering.
Yeah, I mean, you're so focused.
Barry Guitar would be proud.
He literally would. He's willing. He is like so flexible. Like most older people, you know, they're very set in their ways and they want to do things the way they've known. He could be 95 years old and you could be like, Barry, there's this new stuttering speech technique. He'd be like, let's try it. Like he was just so open to trying anything. Yeah, he got really into like mindfulness when I was there because that was kind of becoming more of a thing. Mindfulness is very helpful for stutterers too, because then you're really very present and you're not as much in your head of like having that stress response, and you're really kind of focused on like your muscles and just being in your body and being very conscious of like what you're saying without being self-conscious about it. And then there's, as kids get older, there's more direct therapies, like there's stuttering modification or like easy stuttering. And then there's also fluency shaping. But some of these strategies are like, and we would do this like in my grad program in our Amigos course, where you would stutter on purpose. So that way you can kind of learn what exactly is happening. And like that way you can really kind of focus in on like the muscles that are affected, how your articulators are like getting stuck or shaping, or like, so we as clinicians, and it felt like really mean at first where we're like faking a stutter, but it is helpful for stutterers to kind of exaggerate their stutter so that way they can really kind of get more of a control of that mechanism.
Oh,
are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you gonna make it?
I just feel like, yeah, that would be really mean at first.
Yes.
I don't like
especially
that.
as a non-stutterer to like do this in Ben's face.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah, but it is a technique that Barry would encourage us to do. So, and I do think it is helpful. Like I get the logic behind it. I just think it's better if the stutterers are the ones who do it. I don't need to model that for them. You got it.
Yeah.
You know what your stutter sounds like
all the time.
I don't need to imitate your stutter. Yeah.
I hate that.
Well, it's a technique that works. And then like another focus, like as kids get older, and then for adults, what the focus is on more, because by the time you hit adulthood, you're really not going to like probably get rid of a stutter completely. So it's more about
you're
like,
in it for life.
kind of, yeah. I mean, you can have smoother speech and there are techniques you can use, but it's never just going to like go away completely. So it's more about learning kind of how to like stutter more easily and quickly where you're not getting quite as stuck. And if that is the goal, then it also takes more of like the shame and stress out of it, where we're not going for perfection. You're not trying to just have like perfectly fluent speech. What can we do to like cut down on the intensity of your stutters and how much they're like causing distress to you and how long you're getting stuck? Because some people, we had one guy who would get stuck in a stutter for like 45 seconds where he'd be like, and
How
so you heard
often?
so much tension, like very frequently.
Oh my God.
We had a guy who would stutter on like every other word. Yeah, really, really, really challenging. The fact that any stutterer still speaks at all is really very brave of them.
Have you ever seen like a worst case scenario, an adult who maybe they stutter every other word, maybe they really have a difficult time communicating? Would at that point, if it's like so impactful to their lives, would you ever recommend like a soundboard or something to help communicate?
Yeah, I feel like that could be like a compensatory strategy for them if it's like so disabling that they literally like cannot communicate.
Mhm.
I would imagine that some people might maybe just want to get on an AAC device.
Yeah.
I never saw anyone who was that severe, but there were people like that guy who would stutter every other word where I was like, I might bail out
Yeah.
and want to use a device, you know, which then you're kind of giving up hope that you're going to be able to speak more smoothly, because then you're kind of doing the thing where it's like, I'm so bad at talking that I can't do it. But also, like I said, it's very like emotionally based, where like maybe if you're going through like a really, really difficult time, your stutter is ramping up. It might be like a temporary solution that you use, or like communication cards or something like that, just to like help you get it out. Yeah, that's a good question.
Okay.
Yeah. I can imagine that there are probably people that feel like this is so severe. I just,
just, you know,
Don't
if you're like in
wanna
the
try.
grocery store or like trying to get through an airport, it might be helpful.
True. Yeah. Like times where you really do, like, as nice as these techniques are of, you know, speaking slowly and giving them time, there are unfortunately situations where you do have to just like get it out.
Get through,
and,
like going through TSA. Could you imagine if you had a...
and then they think you're like suspicious because
you're
what's
like,
this guy's
no.
deal?
I wonder if you have like medical bracelets that say severe stutter.
True.
Although you could probably figure it out really easily without a bracelet.
Well, so another technique just for like stutterers to use is self-advocacy and that's something that we would also work on, like with Ben, especially with phone calls and stuff. He would find that kind of starting off with just a heads up, I am a stutterer, and so I'm going to get stuck on my words during this conversation. So I would really appreciate if you could be patient with me. And even just saying that alone would really reduce his stuttering, because now that pressure of like worrying about his communication partner's like confusion and not understanding him, that's really like lifted, because he's told them that I'm going to struggle with stuff. And even just like advocating for himself was really, really helpful. So that's another strategy that stutterers can use, just like take that pressure off. And not everyone feels comfortable doing that. But like, if you know you're going to stutter, they're going to know you stutter, whether you tell them or whether they hear the stutter. I would think I would rather like just say it up front, which I'm sure can feel embarrassing. But I also feel like the fear of like having to like try to cover it up would also be really stressful.
And it's like, if it's bad, you're not going to be able to.
Yes.
So it probably best just to like rip off the Band-Aid and tell everybody,
Yep.
I've got to stutter.
Absolutely. Unless you're that one guy, like that one guy was crazy who would use like the circumvention, where he would just like, you really would have no idea that he was a stutterer. Like it really was crazy how much mental work he was doing of like the circumvention to like
exhausted I know we already talked about this, but it's exhausting at the end of the day.
Yes. And like, that's, you know, it's like masking, where it's like, yeah, that makes your life easier. And I get why he does it. But also think of all the fucking mental energy he's doing to come up with like synonyms for words that are easier for him to say. And he like starts to say a word and he feels himself getting stuck. And then he's like, what synonym could I use in place of this word and then like say that word. And like, it's just a constant like, changing directions.
I can't even think of the original words.
Right? Let alone like a second one.
And an alternative and then a backup.
Can you imagine?
No.
And it seems like, yeah, in some ways it might be just like easier to kind of get stuck on your word sometimes than like have to constantly be changing direction.
Do you notice with stutterers, do they get stuck on like nouns or verbs more, or is it the like pronouns and
well, like we talked about like the information load, like the more information words or sentences are carrying, the more stress there will be about it because it's more important that they get the message across. So a lot of people have a really hard time with their names because they've gotten in so many situations where they have to introduce themselves and all eyes are on them and everyone's waiting to hear this thing. So that's a really big one. And you say it a lot. So then you're really creating that feedback loop on it. So a lot of stutterers have a really hard time with their name. And I also feel like whatever sound their name starts with, then a lot of them can create that association with the sound. So like Ben would also get stuck on like other B words.
Okay.
And then like for like nouns versus adjectives, nouns are going to carry like a higher load as far as information goes. So people do get more stuck on things like nouns as opposed to like an adjective because that's descriptive. It's not as important in most sentences, but that's a good question. Yeah. The heavier the information load is on certain things, the more likely they are to get stuck. Just a couple more things. Let's see. So there's like the cancellation technique where that's like where you start to feel that tension and you can feel that you're like getting stuck on a word. That's where you stop. You kind of like take a breath, try to release that tension and then try it again. So it's like when you're trying to like muscle your way through something, recognizing when it's like, all right, pause.
Not working.
Yes. Take a step back. You're not going to be able to just like push your way through this because the more you're trying to push, the tighter your muscles are. And the tighter your muscles are, the harder this word is going to be to get out. So it's really about like just kind of bailing out, resetting, taking a breath, trying it again. And that's not always going to like stop the stutter from still happening, but it's more about becoming conscious of that tightness and really trying to release it. Oh, and then there's another one called the pull out technique, not that type. And that comes like after the cancellation where you're already like in the word and you're already like in a stutter. You're trying to kind of just almost like the pseudo stuttering, but you're trying to like kind of almost lean into the stutter and just make it like more relaxed and gentle. So instead of like stopping and restarting, like if you're just trying to say the word like and you're like like, it's about kind of like slowing it down, taking the tension out. Like I said, we're not trying to like stop the stutter completely, just trying to make it more relaxed. So at least it's like easier because having those really tight stutters is really hard and like exhausting. So even if you're like having a really tight tight stutter and then you make it a little softer, it's gonna feel easier. And that's a good way to like get out of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of like stretching the sound out. And yeah, there's also another, so those are all like specific like speech therapy techniques that you would learn. And that's for like ages 6 and up. So that's like for more direct stuttering intervention for kids going into adulthood, where you're learning these specific techniques. And those are all things that you would work with a speech pathologist to learn. They're not just like, I mean, you could do these techniques at home and learn about them, but it's really helpful to have an SLP to like work on these. These are very like clinical as opposed to just like creating a relaxed environment, which you still want to do with older kids and adults. But as people get older, there are more specific, like direct interventions that you can use with them. And then they can like work on using themselves, you know, and it sucks. But as you become an adult, now it's on you where you have to kind of use these techniques yourself. Right. And even at like 70 years old, Barry Guitar, who had been stuttering his whole life and then, you know, has been a speech pathologist and then wrote the book on stuttering and is a professor. Even he still stutters and like still gets stuck on words.
Really?
Yep. Yeah.
Dang.
But he has all these techniques and he really has like no shame around it, which is really helpful. And he was very big into like,
I feel like if you write that many books and if you're like the world's leading expert on stuttering, you shouldn't have any shame.
yes,
It's kind of
I
like your
agree.
whole career, but
Yes.
continue.
Yes. But, easier said than done. But even he would still stutter. So like I said, once a stutter, always a stutter, where it doesn't go away once you reach a certain age. But there are techniques where he would like catch himself stuttering and use one of these techniques where he's like softening his jaw. He feels himself getting really tight, softening his jaw and kind of eases his way out of the stutter. But not having shame around it is really, cannot emphasize it enough, it's like the foundation of stuttering intervention. Because if you have shame around it, you're not going to want to catch yourself stuttering and like slowly get out of it. You're just going to want to like push through it and just like get it over with. Just get my words out. Just, let's move past this.
I wonder, just like, not having shame about it, but the incidents with neurodivergence, there's so much shame around neurodivergence. And if
like
they're
rejection sensitive dysphoria.
Yes. And if there's like a comorbidity, if maybe that's, contributory because.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Just wondering about it,
that's
just thinking.
That's a good wondering. Yeah.
Thinking things.
And especially think of like if you have ADHD and you're a stutterer and you like impulsively want to say all these things and your brain is moving so fast and you're coming up with
the shame and rejection.
And you like physically can't get it out also. That'd be so fucking frustrating.
And you have no patience.
Yes. Where you're getting like, frustrated with yourself of like, to spit it out, I can't imagine. I already feel like I can't get my words out fast enough.
No.
Can't imagine like actually.
I feel like sometimes when I talk, I feel like, that like classic pressured speech finding of like manic people going through mania.
Yeah.
Sometimes I say something and I'm like, I gotta slow down.
Yeah. Yeah. That was way too fast.
Too much.
Yes.
Or I don't know if you've ever said like you need to say your things so fast that it just like kind of just comes out as like garbled speech and you're like, well, I'm either speaking too fast or having a stroke.
Yeah. It's like, I know what I'm saying in my head.
Keep up, people.
Yes. Yeah. Just get the gist of it. Yeah.
And everybody else around you is like, try again.
Yeah. Yep. Go back. So I can't imagine having ADHD and like that impulsiveness with speaking and then also having a stutter.
Same.
Must be so incredibly frustrating. Yeah. And like you said, that rejection sensitive dysphoria, there's already so much shame associated with just having a communication disorder or difference. And then on top of it, you have RSD where like one minor perceived slight can make you like never want to show your face again. And then imagine if there's like no way to avoid, because you have to speak. Like you have to, it's not really something you can avoid. If you do something embarrassing in gym class or you run weird, it's like, well, I'm never going to run again,
Right.
If you get stuck on saying your name in class when you're in 7th grade, you can't just never say your name again. Like you have to work through it. There's ways
to avoid it, but you would end up living like that hermit in North Pond.
Yeah. Stealing peanut butter from people's cabins.
Yeah.
And no one wants that,
Yeah.
Too much saturated fat.
We don't want you to be a hermit. We just want you to like be okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want you to be okay. And if you have RSD and you're a stutterer, I really think like therapy on top of speech pathology like would be super helpful.
Cognitive behavioral therapy or
I'm not a huge fan of cognitive behavioral therapy just because it does feel like a little bit like I know there's pros to it. I don't want to knock it completely, but I do think sometimes it can kind of like ignore the reality where it's very based on like, you just got to change your way of thinking and you're having this negative association with it. But sometimes it's like, well, the negative association is true. Like if kids are actively bullying me, it's not just in my head.
Yeah.
I am afraid of this for a reason.
Yeah. There's a reason because kids are assholes.
Yes. It's not just like, you just need to change your mindset and approach it differently. It's like, well, no, this is really
you gotta look at bullying a different way.
Yeah. So I do think CBT has like changed over the years and maybe it's gotten a bit better, but I do think for certain neurodivergences, especially, it can be a bit like dog training. And I do think people find benefits of it, and that's wonderful. There are lots of benefits to it. And if it helps you, that's wonderful. But I do think it can kind of disregard, especially for things like stuttering, where probably a lot of therapists don't really understand it, because most people don't. And they probably don't really understand like the deep like psychological trauma of growing up with a stutter. Like I didn't understand until I went to grad school. And especially like once I became friends with Ben, like even as a clinician, it really was so helpful to actually be friends with someone who stuttered.
Yeah.
Because like being drunk out at the bars and having Ben just like kind of defeatedly ask me to order food for him, like that sucks for like a 22-year-old guy to have to like ask that of people.
Yeah.
You know, like there is just hearing his story of like kind of essentially going mute for a few years, and he really had so much shame around it. And you know, I think it was probably hard for him to work with Barry, who is so like, it's just a communication difference and we shouldn't have shame about it, which is valid, but it's different when you're like a 22-year-old guy, you know, where it's a lot easier to not have shame around it when you're this little 70-year-old man. You've got a career based in stuttering. You've lived your whole life. You're married with kids and blah, blah, blah. For like a 20-something-year-old guy, you don't want to have a stutter, and it really fucking sucks. And it really has a really negative impact on people. But there is one like device. You asked about like medication. There's no medication, but there is a device called delayed auditory feedback, and there's one specifically called the Speech Easy, and it's literally like a thing that you wear in your ears or it's like attached to your head, and you wear it. It's kind of like a hearing aid, but it delays your speech, because they think that something about hearing your speech in real time, because you're hearing yourself stuttering and then you're having that negative feeling and then you're stuttering more because you're like hearing the stutter happen in real time. They're thinking, and it does have benefits. They're thinking that if you hear your speech delayed, you're not hearing the stuttering in real time. So you're not having that negative feedback. And so you're kind of able to get speech out more smoothly because your speech is a bit delayed.
Okay. I see. Took me a second to like wrap my head around that.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. So it's like a hearing aid that plays back exactly what you said.
Yes,
like
just a few seconds delayed.
later.
Yes,
Okay.
like milliseconds delayed.
Okay.
So it's like, it's not like my name is Grace. My name is Grace. It's like it's like my name, like that type of thing, you know. But something about the speed at which it's coming back, right? I can't imagine.
Nuts.
But I don't, I think it's helpful. Like, yeah. And I think it is kind of like blocking where you're not hearing both of them. You're just hearing it delayed, where you're hearing your own speech delayed, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. And something about it, something about not hearing your stutter in real time helps you have smoother speech. It can also come back at like a slightly different pitch. And that's like frequency altered feedback. And that involves like a rhythmic signal. Because there's also something to like we're talking about with like singing or speaking in an accent, something about mixing up like the intonation of your speech or like the pacing of your speech or even adding a rhythm to it. There's another technique where and I studied this in undergrad. It was called melodic intonation therapy. And you can do that with people who have had a stroke or something and have aphasia, where they're like not able to access their language center in their left hemisphere. You're kind of developing an area in the right hemisphere. Our brains are so plastic. You can like develop areas that like previously didn't really exist, where you can speak in a sing-song way, and you're like developing this new area of speech in the right hemisphere by using like a melodic way of speaking.
So then for the rest of your life, you're going to sing song your way?
Nope. You kind of like phase your way out of it, where you start with like really singing and you want to do like the exaggerated like up and down of your intonation. And eventually you're just kind of working on the rhythm of that, where you're kind of like speaking like that. And then eventually you can kind of phase that out.
You know, like Will Shakespeare, iambic. Yeah. What is it? Pentameter?
Iambic pentameter? I had it, and then you said a bunch of those sounds.
Iambic pentagram.
No.
Pentameter.
No. Pentameter.
Pentamper. No.
Pentameter, right?
It sounds not correct.
I know. People are so
Stand
mad right
by.
now. Sorry, guys. Cue the music.
It's spelled pentameter.
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 I got it. It is iambic pentameter.
Pentameter doesn't sound correct.
Have it pronounce it. What's the IPA?
Okay. Hold on.
Iambic pentameter.
Oh,
It's not pentameter.
sounds like pentameter. It looks like pentameter. Iambic pentameter.
Iambic pentameter.
Why does that sound not right?
I don't know, because we've said it too many times and you said a bunch of other sounds. I knew that was it, but you kept messing me up.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hold on.
Have it,
Wikipedia
you can
doesn't
have it say it.
have it say it. Come on, Google.
Come on, everybody. Let me get a little clap. Come on, everybody. Let me get a little clap. Can I get a little clap? If anyone knows that reference, I'll give you a kiss on the mouth. I bet no one will.
Iambic pentameter.
Told you.
It doesn't
Iambic
sound
pentameter.
right.
I know.
But it
But
is
it
right.
is. It's correct.
Okay.
It's correct. All right.
Onward.
Anyways, good thing we paused at the very end for that.
Yes.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. My other techniques are just mindfulness, which can really help, tapping, anything to reduce, stress on your nervous system, relax
Of
the
course
nervous
you bring
system.
up tapping.
Because it's correct. There's so much research behind it. It is one of the best ways, one of the best somatic therapies to regulate your nervous system. And the more regulated your nervous system, the less you're in fight or flight. And so the more mindful you're going to be able to be and the smoother your speech is going to be. I bet Barry Guitar would be psyched to hear about tapping. And I bet he would love it and he would show the whole class. So Barry, check out tapping if you haven't already. But any type of somatic therapy, any type of regulating your nervous system is going to be helpful. Support groups, like I said, if you are a stutterer, you probably don't really know that many people who also stutter. And I'm sure it can feel really isolating and just really difficult. So check out, there's what's it called? The National Stuttering Association, I think it is. They have stuttering. There's the stuttering.
The NSA.
Yeah, it's the stuttering.
They're also tracking your phone calls.
It's the Stuttering Foundation.
Oh, boo.
And they,
less fun.
Yeah, I think they have information about stuttering support groups near you. I'm sure there are also plenty of virtual ones. But
Reddit groups.
Yeah,
there's got to be a Reddit group.
Oh, there's definitely
for sure.
stuttering. Yeah. Yeah. So just seek out if you feel really isolated and no one understands what you're going through, because it is a very specific struggle that most people won't understand. And I'm sure that feels really lonely and really difficult. So find some support groups, find some other stutterers who get you. And then I think just that can take the shame out of it and make you feel more solidarity and just help you talk through this stuff. And then there's less shame around it. And I think that's just, very beneficial. Like I said, advocating for yourself, telling people straight up out of the gate, just a heads up, I struggle with stuttering, or I'm a stutterer, or I have trouble getting my words out. So if you could just be patient with me, I really appreciate it. If
a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Says I stutter.
Be patient, bitch. Yeah. If people are speaking over you or finishing your sentences, working on those self-advocacy skills. Once again, it can be really scary and stressful. And so I'm not trying to make it sound super easy, but that sucks. If people aren't letting you get your words out.
Yeah. You
speak
have
up
a
for
voice.
yourself. Yes, you have the right to speak. It doesn't matter how long it takes you. You have the right to communicate just like anyone else. If it takes you a little bit longer, okay, your communication partners need to work on their patience. And that's a lesson for them, So don't silence yourself based on the comfort of others. You have the right to speak, even if you get stuck on stuff. Okay, then they're getting to learn a great skill in patience. And isn't that nice for them? Yeah. And you can tell them hey, I would really appreciate it if you would let me finish my words. Because some people really don't know, or they're being jerks. But either way,
I'd appreciate it if you would let me speak.
Yeah, there you go. And if you get stuck on advocating for yourself, okay. That's just how you speak. It's a communication difference.
Let me speak.
Let me speak. And yeah, those are kind of my advice, my techniques, my input on
What's
that.
the best technique?
I don't know if there's like one best technique, but overall, I just feel like reducing the stress and shame around it. And I don't know, speaking in an accent. That sounds like a fun one.
That does
I think
sound
that's
fun.
my favorite
That
technique,
does sound
actually.
fun. How do you pick, if you're like, I'm going to learn an accent and I'm going to speak it? What do you
I would say pick one that is fun to do, one that you feel like you can do, or it doesn't even necessarily have to be one specific accent. Maybe confuse people, do a mashup,
Ooh, fun.
Just as long as you're like
Fun.
changing your vowels however you want, as long as you're changing the shape of your vowels, then I think that can be fun, and it doesn't have to be one consistent accent as long as you're shaping your vowels.
Where are we?
And then, like Barry said, if you speak in that accent long enough, you'll develop the stutter on the accent. Stay ahead of it. Can't catch a moving target.
Right.
Speaking up constantly. Southern, Irish, go Mainer,
Yeah.
like, go Australian. Just constantly switching it up. Don't
French
let that stutter catch you.
Canadian.
Yeah.
That's a good
That's a fun one. Minnesotan. Better pop my tarp off. Yeah. My favorite phrase. Yeah, so I think, speak with an accent. You could do the breathy voice like Marilyn Monroe and see if that helps you.
Yeah.
You could pick up running and just be running all the time, running in place. Maybe that'll help you
Ooh.
be smooth.
Here's what I think you should do. I think you need to get an accent.
Yes.
And then on top of an accent, assume a whole new identity and backstory around said accent. Be a whole different person.
Yeah, why
and
not?
that whole different person doesn't stutter, but then switch it up, make friends as a separate person and then one day really weird them out and show up as your regular self with the stutter. How fun's that?
That's so fun. 'Cause
Really
they're like,
creep out
what's
your
the
new
real-
friends. Yeah.
What's
Who
the
are
real-
you? Why all of a sudden, what is this?
It's so mysterious, and then you
So,
get to be
like,
mysterious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Years in the planning. You've got to make relationships. You got to meet people's family members.
Yeah.
Set the foundation and then crumble it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Really like fuck with them psychologically.
It's good to have
Of,
goals.
like, what's true. It is good to have goals. It's nice to, aim for something. It's nice. I like psychological warfare
Yeah.
on your loved ones is fun.
Really, hollowing someone out until they're like a husk of a human and they don't really understand what reality is anymore.
Yeah.
That's a good goal.
That is a fun goal.
Use your stutter as an advantage.
Make the best of it.
Yeah. Have fun with it.
Yeah. It sucks to have a stutter. So I say,
Have
lean
a little
into
fun.
it. Have a little fun.
Really lean in.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. Good idea.
Yeah.
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 Good
You're
technique.
welcome.
Maybe
Barry would like that.
Barry would love that, I think. He had like a news interview that we watched in class of him. Unfortunately, he picked an Indian accent where it's like Barry, but but it is very melodic. So I do think
it's a beautiful accent.
it really is. There's just a lot of bad aspects of white people
That's
making a mockery
fair.
of it.
But
That's
fair.
too bad because it really is such a beautiful accent. But I also think, like I was talking about the melodic intonation, if you pick an accent that's especially melodic, that's even better. I bet you're even smoother. You could start singing all of your words.
Ooh,
That's really
fun.
Maybe you'll become a famous singer like Ed Sheeran,
Oh, yeah.
You sung so much that you became a famous musician, sung your way out of a stutter and into fame. So
That's fair.
lots of options for you out there.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah. All right. Good questions. Really opened up the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening. If you have stuttering questions, if you are a stutterer, I would love to hear from you. If you know someone who's a stutterer or you have like any personal thoughts or questions or experience with it, reach out to us at weirdsofeather@gmail.com.
Share your experience.
Love to hear from you.
Psychologically manipulated someone?
Yeah.
Reach out to us at Weirds of Feather. We'd love to know about it.
Yep.
Take notes.
Right up our alley. We love that stuff.
Yeah, that's what we want to learn about.
Yep.
Do
you have a really fun, famous person who stutters that I missed? Let me know because I love adding to my list.
Oh, yeah. Do you have a great accent that you do to help with your stutter? Let us know. Do we miss a fun accent? Is there a more fun accent
that white people can do that's okay?
That's appropriate?
Yes. Let us know what other white people accents we can
that's
mimic.
not like racially profiling.
Yes. Yeah.
What? Help us.
Yeah, let us know. I think the Irish accent is really fun.
That's very fun.
And
That
you just
is
got to watch
fun.
Maura on Traitors season 4 to kind of get some examples.
I love a good Boston, and that's because, we live in New England, but
we all probably can't have it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Boston's
like a
fun.
Southie accent,
Dirty.
is dirty. Like,
And for that, you can watch season 3 of Traitors with Boston Rob.
that's true.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a fun.
He's a great example of a Boston accent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love a good Minnesotan
I
accent.
love a Minnesotan.
So
Yeah.
fun. So fun.
Could do the Philadelphia accent and the water, water. That one's not as fun.
Not
that
as
one's
fun,
hard.
but that's
I
okay.
think classic Southern is fun.
Yep. Classic Southern's really fun. Louisiana. That kind of like
And that would help with like the slow
New
drawl.
Orleans situation.
Any kind of slow drawl. I feel like it's good. Drawl.
Cockney accent
Yes.
too. I won't do it because I can't, but that's fun.
Really fun. Lots of options for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let us know your favorite stuttering intervention. If you have a child who stutters and you have any questions about like how to help them, or if you should have them assessed, or like you have had them assessed and you want some more support on that, reach out to me and I'm happy to like give you my thoughts. So readsofeather@gmail.com. You can message us on Instagram and let me know, because I do love talking about this and I'm glad I'm finally talking about it.
I'm glad we finally did it. I learned a lot. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for bringing your expertise
of
to
course.
the WOF.
I
Appreciate it.
underestimated myself and forgot how much I knew.
You know lots of things.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, it's almost like I studied this for years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like specialized in it.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. It's interesting. So all right, we're gonna get out of here and get into our bod.
I want your bod.
Nice bod. Today's bod, we're doing the blue-footed booby.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Love that thing. It's got blue feet.
Love that guy. All right, so one of my fun facts,
Mhm.
the blue feet come from the fish that they eat.
Oh, really? Like a flamingo?
Yep, exactly.
Oh.
And so-
what are they eating?
Some kind of fresh fish that are blue.
Oh.
So the healthier and more nourished the blue-footed booby is, the darker the blue pigment is going to be.
Oh.
So that's how you can kind of tell their health, is by how blue their feet are. And the blue-footed booby's name originates from the Spanish word bobo, which means silly or foolish. But because, it seems mean.
It's even worse.
But because they've lived in a lot of areas where there aren't a lot of humans, they do tend to have like a lack of regard for possible danger, which makes them very vulnerable.
I
And that's
see.
what happened with the dodo bird too.
Yeah.
Where they were so isolated from humans that when humans showed up, they were like, oh, friends.
Yeah.
And then those friends killed them.
Yeah.
And wiped them
And
out.
ate them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really sad. So,
It's so sad.
they're just sweet little dummies who don't know enough to be scared of us. So
I love how
that.
they're like, we're going to name them stupid first. And then they're like, no. It's too mean. Let's name.
blue-footed stupid.
Yeah. Let's name them after a breast.
Yes.
Unreal.
Unreal.
All right. Let's hear that bird call. Let's get into it.
Okay. Give us that bird call.
Let's see those bird calls with our ears.
Also known as hearing.
Yes.
Go tighter vocal cords.
I think you have a career in bird calls.
I think if
Oh,
I worked on it a little bit, I
your
could refine my
speech,
skills.
Your language, your mouth knowledge.
I guess it is helpful to have an understanding of where speech sounds are produced. Yeah. It's like almost like a laugh, but very tight. Good stuff. Forgot we were on video for a second.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
Enjoy those
That's
faces
nice.
and
That
all
is nice.
of those chins, because there were a lot. Yeah.
Got a lot of them.
There are a lot. All right.
All right.